I've helped a lot of people learn how to build their businesses, scale startups, start a side hustle, and do anything and everything related to building things that generate income. And in all this time, I have learned 5 key things that hold most people back from starting their own companies. And that's what we're going to talk about today, so let's get started. The first thing that unequivocally holds most people back is the concept of perfection. We think that we need to wait for perfection before we put stuff out into the world, and it is just fundamentally flawed. There is no such thing as perfect. There is no such thing as the perfect product, perfect placement, perfect service, perfect idea, perfect execution. It's all a clusterfuck. Everything is a mess all the time. That is the nature of building things. They're iterative, they are imperfect, and that is what makes things amazing. There is no such thing as the perfect beauty, because beauty exists in the imperfections. And the sooner we wrap our heads around this, the better we're going to be. Waiting for perfect is just a roadblock that you put in the way of starting. Realize this right now. The phrase I want you to remember is, perfection is perilous. If you wait for perfection, it's more than likely true that you will die. It will be perilous before you've even started. You need to seek feedback, not perfection. If you can get your brain shifted into a way that you start hunting feedback, negative or positive, and you replace that requirement for perfection, you're on your way. You need to be prolific. And the thing that is holding you back from being prolific is waiting for perfection. If you are thinking of writing a newsletter, start writing a newsletter. Publish all the time. Even if your grammar is bad, even if your spelling is bad, even if the structure of your thinking is bad, I promise you when you have an audience, they're going to point it out to you. And that means that they care. It means that they're involved. If you wait for the perfect version of something before you put it out, you are going to be sorely disappointed. And here's the scenario. You could either start building today with a little bit of money and a little bit of effort and put it out in the world and get that feedback, or you can do the old school way of thinking. You can spend 3 years, millions of dollars building this perfect version of something and then put it out into the world. You know what's going to happen? You're going to put it out into the world and it's going to be received in a different way than you want it to. Users are going to use it in a different way. People are going to criticize it in ways you didn't even think to criticize it. And then you will be broken. You will have spent 3 years and all these dollars learning lessons you could have learned with much less time and much less money invested. So get over perfection and move on. Number 2. This is one of my favorites. It's what I wrote one of my first books on. Do, fail, learn, repeat. It is on the idea of fear of failure. We are so scared of failure. We see failure as an end point instead of a through point. You need to start reframing your idea of failure. I've never met a successful person who avoided failure towards their successes. That is not how success works. If you think that the best way to succeed is to protect yourself from failure, you are wrong. You need to embrace failure, but reframe it as a learning experience. Failure is not fatal. And if it is fatal, you are building the wrong thing. Your businesses should not lead to your death if they fail. What you need to do is make your failures smaller and more frequent and more attainable so that when you fail, it doesn't break your bank, it doesn't break your business, it doesn't break your spirit. It's just a little hump in a long road of learning and iterating and seeking the feedback that we discussed under the perfection heading. So forget about failure. Failure is not something to be fearful of. It is something to embrace. And remember, if failure is fatal, you are doing it wrong. The next thing I want you to remember is time. Lots of people tell me that they don't have time to build businesses, they don't have time to build their side hustles, they don't have time to fit into their day. Bullshit. You have time, you are just choosing every single minute where to spend your time, and you just haven't realized it yet. And that's the problem. You do not have a time issue, you have a priority issue. If you rethink the things that you focus on, you will unlock hours and hours of time. So what I urge you to do is consider what your actions are telling you are important to you. If you tell me that building a side hustle or a business is important because you need the extra income, but you never spend time building a side hustle or researching your business or getting the feedback you need. You spend your time reading books or watching TV or playing with your friends, football, league, or whatever. Then those are your priorities. I like to tell people that your actions dictate your intentions. If your intention is to build a business, but your actions are getting hammered on the weekends, then your action is actually your priority, not your intention. You can't intend to make lots of money, but never work towards making lots of money. Your actions dictate your intentions. So don't tell me you have a time problem if you haven't allocated time to build the business that you want. Number 4 is no money. All the time, people tell me that businesses are expensive, that you have to raise money to build a business, you need to have capital, you need to spend money. Yes, some businesses you absolutely do need to spend money to build, but not all businesses and not all the time and not in the beginning. All you need to have an actual business is one sale. If you can make a single sale, you have a business. That's the game. You can invest your time, you can invest your attention, you can invest existing skills you have, you can invest in saving money so that down the line you have money to commit. If you don't have money right now, but you still want to build a side hustle, saying that you have no money doesn't help you build a side hustle. You have to allocate your energy where you can afford it. So if you don't have money, then give of your time. If you don't have time, then try and give of some of your attention in small batches of time. If you don't have any of those things, then maybe you need to take a breath and figure out how you get more time or more money saved or more attention to give so that you can allocate towards this priority. But I promise you now, if you have no money but you're still spending on frivolous things, then you do have money, you're just prioritizing it in different places. And then the final one is people tell me that they don't have ideas or their ideas aren't good enough, or my favorite is their idea is too good to put out into the world. I love this one. My idea is so good, I'm going to hold it so close to my chest that nobody ever sees it, because if I do put it out into the world, somebody's going to steal it. Let me tell you right now, nobody wants to steal your idea. It's not that good. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Your idea is not unique, it is not special, it is not going to change the world, and your idea is not the next Facebook. I'm going to have another video where I talk about building the next Facebook and why that is screwing up your brain, but let me start with ideas generally. Every idea you have had, someone else has had too. Just Google it, do some basic research, but that is not a problem. There is nothing wrong with doing something that somebody else has done before. All I want to ask you is, can you do it better, cheaper, faster, more often, in a different way? Is there anything unique? Even if your customer base is unique, that's a selling proposition, that's great. So forget about this idea, it is not special. What a lot of us struggle with is we think we have one good idea. Fundamentally, that just doesn't work. You have got lots of ideas in your brain. This one idea is clogging up the goodness of all the other ideas you have. So what you need to do is get this idea out into the world. Expose it to people, share it with people. Don't be precious about it. The more you get it out there, the more you're going to gauge feedback, and then the more you can iterate on this idea. But you won't know what people think about it, and you won't know if someone's going to buy it from you if you don't talk about it. So get over your shit. Your idea is not special, and that's a good thing. It should release you from this pressure of having one good idea, because you don't. If you've had one good idea, you will have another good idea and another one. What you need to get used to is execution. Don't worry about perfection. Don't be fearful of failure. Don't worry about any of those things. Focus on being prolific, executing, telling people what you do, what you can sell them, and then selling it to them. Remember that a side hustle or a business without sales is just a hobby, and I'm sure you have enough of those. So, to recap, there are 5 things that hold you back from building a business, starting a side hustle, creating that startup of your dreams. In order of this video, the first is perfection. Perfection is perilous. If you wait for it, you're already dead in the water. The next is a fear of failure. Failure is not fatal, and if you think it's fatal, then you are doing it wrong. Rethink the way that you're executing. Next up, you've got time. And I promise you, you don't have a time problem, you have a priority problem. So rethink your priorities and allocate time to building the business that you want. The next one is money. Money is not the only resource that you can build a business with. You have your time, you have your attention, you have your existing skills, and a plethora of other things. So if you don't have money, stop making excuses and use what you have at your disposal. And the final one is your ideas. I promise you, your idea is not special, it's not unique, and that is a freeing and releasing statement. If your idea was so special that it deserves to be turned into a business, then why hold it close to your chest? Get it out there and build something. If you liked this video, please comment below, tell me about your idea, tell me about your fears, like and subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who is held back by one of these 5 things. And remember, it is up to you to do the work. So go out and do the work. But wait, before you go, I've created a workbook and a 5-day email automated program to help you get through these 5 barriers. There are exercises, there's a workbook, and there is a way for you to get over these 5 roadblocks. So check out the description below, click on the link, sign up, and take the workbook into your life and build the project that you have been holding on to so tightly. I can't wait to see what you put out into the world. Tell me about it.